Hello, Patty here, the country wife from Vermont, now living in South Carolina. How are you? I hope things are well at your house and that everything is going in a kind of a calm, peaceful sort of way. This week has been a better week than last week. I'm pretty sure I told you about the horrifying accident that my husband had, and today he doesn't even have any strips on his temple. They're all his wound is healing, and I think it's going to be okay. He seems happy enough with it. Anyway, so that's the health front this week. All seems to be well. As far as organization, it's a good idea to have an organized and tidy home. You never know when someone is going to come into your home that has never been there before. And one of my least favorite thoughts is that someone would fall over dead in horror with how I take care of the house. So last night we had some visitors in our home. It turns out that yesterday when I went out to go to the Family Search Center, I stepped into the garage and I could smell a very strong petroleum smell. And I looked all around, I could not find anything that I thought it was. And I went back into the house. I thought, well, maybe it's outside. I stepped outside. It wasn't there anything out there. So something smelled in the garage and I didn't know what it was. I got back into the house and tried again, same thing. I had that smell, but I didn't know what it was. And I thought, well, I can't think what it is, but I can't hear any hissing sounds or anything like that, so it's probably fine. So I went to the Family Search Center. I came home and the garage had been closed up and there was a smell. It wasn't as strong as I smelt it in the morning, but it was there. And my friend came over who worked for many years at the fire department, and she said, you better call the fire department. They'll come and they'll check and see, because they have little things that they can use to check and see if there's a problem. So last night I did that. And who should show up but a big red fire truck with 3 men on it, and a smaller yellow fire truck with a couple of men on it, and then eventually a pickup truck with 2 men in that. And anyway, they were fabulous. They were just so kind, and they asked questions, and they checked in the house, they checked in the garage, they checked outside the garage where we have this quick on, instant on hot water thing that's on the outside of the house. They checked that. Then they went in the house and went all through the house, all through the house. Guess what is in all through the house? Mess everywhere. Well, yeah, mess everywhere. There's knitting project bags and all kinds of project bags and paperwork and knitting and spinning things and looms. And anyway, the house is kind of a disaster. I mean, I'm looking around. Ugh. There's hardly a square inch that doesn't have something on it. All good stuff, but too much stuff. Anyway, so they came. So that's the whole point. And they found that there was no problem. They could not find a problem. But they also found, we have a gas stove because I like a gas stove. And they found that we don't have carbon monoxide detector. So that's what, when I'm done with this video, I'm going to go and get one for downstairs and one for our bedroom, because that's what the nice fireman said we needed to do. And he said, anytime you smell something or something doesn't seem right, call us, we will come. And I thought that was very kind, and I appreciate that. It was a great service. Anyway, so that's the health and the organization. So finished projects. I want to talk about finished projects. I've been telling you about that cute little sweater that I've been making for my friend's grandchild. And this week on Monday, I finished the putting on the buttons. So here is that cute little sweater. I think it is adorable. And it's got all these little buttons. This was made with some I Love This, no, not I Love This yarn. It was one of the, what the heck is that called? I probably told you last week. But anyway, it's one of these yarn cakes. And there was two different patterns that I kind of put together to make this one, so that it was, so this is not exactly anything, but it's meant to fit a size a 13-month-old baby. Anyway, I'm happy. One thing, I'll show you what I did for the buttons, because the pattern didn't have you make buttonholes. They said it's a loose enough weave, a loose enough gauge that you can just stick the buttons through, and that's the case. But to keep the buttons where they ought to be, I got some little squares of felt, and I put behind them there, and then at the bottom where I put the new batch, where the stock and stitch is, I just did that thing. That's really terrible. It looks bad on the inside, but the buttons themselves, I don't think they look bad at all on the outside. So there you go. There is the little thing done. So this baby is going to go to its new home, hopefully sometime this week. So that's the finished project number 1. I only have one other finished project, and I call it finished project because it's all these granny squares. I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and a really ugly one, 14. This, you can see there's the end of one skein, the end of a second skein, and now I've added part of a third one. So that's 14 more. So we're getting there. We're getting there. This coming week, though, I probably am not going to have as many. I'm going to hopefully get at least 6 or 8 this coming week, but I'm moving on to other projects. So this week I started, let's talk about something that I started a while ago. My Columbia spinning friends have been doing a winter doldrums project, and I haven't shown it because I'm not very proud of it, but on the other hand, you know what, it is what it is, and I will be using it. We're making it's called the Mirkwood scarf, and I am doing it with my homespun yarn, hand-spun yarn. And my hand-spun yarn, the pattern calls for using either lace weight or fingering weight yarn. Mine is probably Aran weight to bulky weight. So instead of using the needles they call for, I'm using, I think these are number 10 needles. Let's see. Where is that other needle? Okay. No, these are 10.5 needles, and I'm using those. And you start out with seed stitch, and so I'm hoping that this is wool, so it'll stretch as lace, and so you need to block the heck out of it so the lace will show. There's 11 different charts for lace. So that's the first chart, the second chart, and things don't really look that hot when they're not blocked. There's another one, another one. Somewhere over in here, I started one and I didn't like what it looked like. Actually, it's not so much I didn't like what it looked like. Yeah, that's the one. I didn't really like what it looked like, but it also, I had some problems with it, and I said, okay, I'm not doing the whole chart. So then I moved on to the next chart, and now this one, this here at this end is chart number 8. And so I'm making progress. And this is my, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but this is a different color than these. They're all different yarn, different fiber that I did. And this one here was one of my first projects with solar dyeing naturally. And I don't remember what this was, but you can see that that's kind of yellowy. Anyway, this is, I've got 3 more charts to go after I finish the chart that I'm on. And I've got this much yarn. So when I run out of this ball, I'm probably only going to get maybe 1 more chart plus the ending. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Right now, I measured last night, and this is about 60 inches long. So that'll be fine. I'll be thrilled if it gets up to be 72 or more inches around, because then I can pull it around myself and be happy. Of course, this was without blocking. It was 60 inches, so who knows how big it'll be. I'm looking forward to getting it done, because I have some other projects that I need to start. I've got 2 shawls that I have. One is the jaunty spin it to knit it along, and I've got the yarn is spun. I've shown you that, and now I want to get that thing started. But also, I have some yarn coming to do another Andrea Mallory one, which is her night shift, a mosaic pattern. And I'm not sure that I'm going to like it. We'll see how it goes. I just don't know, because it's one of those kind of wonky off-center shawls. I don't know. We'll have to see how I think it's going to go. And I might redo it, use her charts and turn it into a rectangle instead of a funky thing. Everybody wears all these young women wear their shawls like bibs, and I think that's weird. But so anyway, okay, so that was a work in progress. I've been working on it since January, but I haven't worked on it very much recently. But I need to finish that up. Then started this week. Here is a little coffee bean cardigan for our great-grandson, who's going to be born in a matter of weeks. And our granddaughter chose the colors. She thought that it would be nice to have the navy and white stripes and a dark green for the ribbing. You can see the collar ribbing. You start at the top. This is a free pattern, by the way. And then you do the raglan, and you do that. And now, in the last hour, well, the last half hour, I started the ribbing for the bottom. So the contrast is not, it depends on the light that you're in. The contrast between the navy and the dark green is not very big, but I think it's going to be a pretty sweater when it's done. Hopefully I'll have it done in the next week so that it will be waiting for that new baby when the baby is born. So there's that one. And one more project I started this week. Let's see if I can find. So I think I showed you the shawl, which started out to be a, what did it start out to be? It started out to be a kind of a knitted blanket. It was going to be a rectangular blanket, and it was going very well. I was holding 3 strands of yarn together. I was using up yarn. It was going to be a nice, squishy, fabulous blanket, and it got to a point where it was too much for my hands. It was just too heavy. So I stopped it, and I decided it was going to be a shawl instead of a blanket, and I've sent that off, and our granddaughter will have gotten it in the last week. Or no, this week she should have gotten it. So then I thought, okay, I'm still committed to making these 10 blankets, and I want to get them done. And I thought, I'm enjoying these little granny squares. I thought, what if I make some bigger granny squares and just keep granny squaring? So I found I had 6 different balls of I Love This yarn in variegated colors. And so I started out, and I measured them, I weighed them, and I was hoping that I could get them to be about 24 inches. So if I put 2 of them together side by side, that'd be 48, plus then I'm going to have another couple of inches so it'll make it about 50 when I put on the joining work, and then have them be 2 by 3. So that will make them kind of longish and about 50 inches wide. And I think that lap blankets are often about that size. So anyway, this was the blanket. This is the skein with the least amount of yarn in it. And so my plan is, so I've done that, and I started that. I used up that skein, and now here I have another one, and I've gotten this far with this one. And my thought is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going with them, and I'll go. So this one, you can see I got stopped at that corner. I was thinking that I was going to, get another ball of the same yarn, but since then I've been talking with my knitting friends, and I've decided that instead of getting more yarn, since I'm trying to use up the yarn, is I will choose a yarn that I think won't be too glaring to go with this. Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. So this is where I started that round, going around this far. I thought I was going to get all the way around, but I didn't. Okay, so that's where I am. Okay, sometimes my brain has a quick glitch in it. But anyway, so we don't know what this is going to look like, but we're going to keep going until one of these balls of yarn that I've got is actually a full, has not had anything taken out of it. It has not been used for anything. So I'm just going to make these squares. I'm going to make as big as they'll go, and then the full skein is going to be really the size I'm going to go for, and we'll crochet on that until it's done, and then I will fill in all the other squares to make that same size. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I was happy whenever my grandmother made anything for me, and even if it was just her crisscross cookies. I loved her crisscross cookies, and I have the recipe. In fact, one day I found a piece of paper amongst some stuff that I had in my desk, and it was my grandmother's crisscross cookie recipe written in my mother's hand. That was so sweet, and I have that to this day. I actually took a picture of that, and I put it up on familysearch.org in the Memories app. And so I've got it there for my children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and anybody in the world who puts up crisscross cookie recipe in familysearch.org. You can find it in the memory section. Anyway, that is it for this today. But after I finish here, I'm going to attach a little video, a short video that I made earlier this week. I had, for months and months, I've planned to make project bags for my spinning friends, and they're no big deal. They're just, I don't even have one. Oh yeah, this you know, this is what they look like. They're just, you know, I use a yard of fabric. And actually, this one has got a kind of a boxing. Most of them, the ones that I made this week, did not have boxing. But it has the zipper and it has the handle. Anyway, I love them, and I am going to continue making them because I always need a bag for something. Because I'd rather, you know, have them in real bags instead of things like this. This is not the ideal place for way to store your bags. Look at that. What is that? Huh. Well, there you go. Don't know what that is. Well, anyway, so I managed, so one day I did part of the work on the bags, and then the second day I finished them up, and the finish up work took me about 20 minutes per bag, putting in the zipper and the handles, and I have these cute little handmade with love labels now, which is, I like, I think they're cool. Anyway, so I'm putting them on there. Anyway, so I'm going to add a little video of those because they're kind of pretty. Some of them bags are really pretty and others of them are just ho-hum, but they're bags. And I put them in the mail yesterday, so my friend is going to receive them and she can hand them out or she can keep them all for herself. I'm perfectly happy however that goes because I had in mind to make 10 of them and 10 of them went out of the house. And if anybody else needs one, I still have a little fabric and I can make some more. Anyway, that is it for today. Thank you for watching. I'm thrilled to say it makes me happy when I look at my analytics on YouTube Studio. I found that 71 kind people have subscribed to this channel. That makes me really happy. And I hope you get something out of it. I hope I make enough, you know, enough content to make it happy for you. One thing, hold on one second. Oh, dang it, I did that again. I pressed the wrong button, so now we're starting a new video. I should have pressed, I'm not aware of how to do this. Okay, well, it's been almost a year. And what happened was a little boy came to the door because he'd lost his basketball and he wondered if we had brought it inside. No, we didn't. So, but now maybe next time I'll remember to press the pause button instead of the stop button. But anyway, so whatever I was saying, I will tell you that I'm going to add that video with the project bags. So that is going to be it for today. So I hope you all have a good week. I hope everyone is well and happy. And oh, that's right, I was going to tell you. This is what I was going to say, is that this week, one day I was reading in the book of Genesis about Joseph, of the coat of many colors, Joseph, and how he avoided temptation and he ran from temptation when it was being pressed on him. And I said, you know, some of the stories you think, how does that relate to me? And then I thought, yeah, it does relate to me. I am tempted all the time. I have some YouTube video channels that I love to watch, but they're all channels that encourage me to buy more yarn. And you know what? So often I fall. And I've decided, okay, you know, Joseph fled from the temptation. Potiphar's wife was trying to seduce him, and he said, how can I do this great wickedness to the Lord? And so or something like that. And so he fled out of the way. She grabbed him away from her. She kept hold of his coat, but even so, he was gone. He didn't succumb to that. And so I said, okay, how can I relate this story to me? Well, those YouTube videos, much as I love them, I've deleted my subscription to many of those channels because, well, partially, I'd already deleted many. About 2 weeks ago, I have been watching the number of videos on my YouTube subscriptions going up and up and up, and I had almost 13,000 episodes that I hadn't watched. There was no way in my lifetime I was going to be able to watch them. So I went through and I unsubscribed to so many of them, but I still had quite a few video channels left, and now I've deleted all the ones that are absolutely overtly encouraging me to buy fiber or yarn or other things. And so a lot of those are gone. I'm fleeing from that. If there's some time that I want something, I know how to get in touch with them. But I'm not going to keep them up. And I'm doing the same thing with my emails, because all these lists that you get on an email list, even though it's almost impossible to get rid of them, I'm unsubscribing from them too. So I don't know if anybody else needs encouragement for that kind of thing, but we'll see how that goes. And maybe it'll be good for our bank account, and even better for the tidiness of our house as I use up what we've got and don't replace it, at least until I've used up everything. Then I can start fresh and be smarter the next time. So that is it. Do good. Be good. Let's do it now together. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good week until we meet again. Bye. Well, here we are with a box full of project bags. A cool pumpkin one. I'll just open this one up so you can see that it's a 1 yard bag with a zipper top right there, and this cute new thing that says handmade with love that I'm sticking on it. So I'll just fold this back up and then pull out all the other ones I've just made for a project. Here's this fabric one. That one I think is very nice. It's shiny. I love the greens. Those are really beautiful. This is a different fabric. It's kind of a canvasy, a light canvas. I kind of like this one. Then we've got a blue floral. Isn't that kind of pretty? The lemon run I really do like. I think it's fabulous. My favorite one is this one with a lavender and purple. I really like that one. And here's the number 10. Someone is going to like this, I think. So there we are. There's 10 project bags to give to some friends. I'm thrilled to have finally gotten them done. I got the fabric months and months ago, but now they're done. So that's it for now.